Three warriors, three nations, separated by oceans and united by wisdom. For over centuries, their techniques have shaped empires, won impossible battles, and mastered the art of unconquerable minds. Sun Tzu, Miyamoto Musashi, and Wisdom Sun Tzu. Today, their secrets become yours. I will show you a short cinematic film about their lives and see which wisdoms they offered the world. This is not just history, this is a blueprint for life. And then use 5 of their most important quotes or wisdoms which you can apply to your life today. First, we have to go back 2,500 years to China to meet a warrior who has changed the battlefield forever.
In the 6th century BC, when China was still 1,000 bleeding kingdoms, a boy was born in the state of Qi. His family name was Sun. His given name was Wu. History would remember him only by the title he earned, Sun Tzu, Master Sun. By age 30, he had already seen more death than most men see in 10 lifetimes. He served the petty kings of Wu as a mercenary captain, marching nameless armies through endless rain and fire. He learned that courage without cunning is just slow suicide. In 512 BC, King Helu of Wu summoned him. The king wanted proof of his expertise as a commander. Sun Tzu asked for the palace concubines, 180 women, and turned them into soldiers in a single afternoon. When 2 of the king's favorite women laughed at his orders, Sun Tzu beheaded them on the spot in front of the horrified court. The remaining 178 executed every drill in perfect silence. The king was terrified. He hired the monster on the spot. For the next 13 years, Sun Tzu waged a war no one had ever seen before. He took the city of Ying without drawing a sword, by opening the gates from within with bribes and lies. He crushed the mighty state of Chu by burning their grain before the harvest, then vanishing like smoke. He forced entire armies to surrender by cutting their supply lines and waiting. Rivers of men laid down their spears rather than starve. His campaigns were short, silent, surgical. Where other generals left mountains of corpses, Sun Tzu left empty battlefields and stunned survivors who could not explain how they had lost. Between wars, he retreated to the mountains and wrote 13 scrolls. No poetry, no boasting, just cold, perfect sentences carved into bamboo with a knife still stained from the last campaign. When the work was finished, he vanished. No tomb, no funeral, no trace. Some say he sailed east and was never seen again. Others say he simply walked into the mist and became the mist. 2,500 years later, his scrolls are still read by every general who ever won, every tyrant who ever fell, every strategist who ever lived. He never ruled a kingdom, he never sat on a throne, he never lost a war. He proved that the deadliest man in history could be the one who hated killing the most. Sun Tzu did not conquer the world, he conquered the idea of conquest itself. And then, he walked away. 2 millennia later, boardrooms and bedrooms still open the same 13 scrolls. Because the battlefield never left. It only changed shape. If this cut deep, smash like, subscribe, and lock in. The next legend is already marching toward you.
Well, that was the life of Sun Tzu. A little bit of goosebumps. He had an amazing life and a very scary life as well. You see, he was a mercenary for 13 years. He saw what kind of psychological terror people went through after war. So he got pretty lucky to have survived for 13 years as a mercenary captain, which allowed him to see strategies that common people would never encounter in their lives. The logistical supply lines, the morale of the men. So his chance in his life became that he could choose the lesser evil. So throughout the years and his campaigns, he became a strategic genius. He experienced a completely other side of war. So that's what made him more patiently and calculated, because he has gotten this far and he didn't want to take unnecessary risks, which made his motto, victory should become so inevitable that fighting should become unnecessary. But let's dive into the wisdoms and the quotes that he left us. The Sun Tzu paradox is that he became so skilled at conquest and killing that he didn't have to do it all the time. He saw and used different tactics, other opportunities that a normal general would not take. Let's go over 5 of his quotes. Know yourself and know your enemy. Actually, this translates to Self-awareness eliminates fear. You have to know your weak points, and you have to study your competition. Fear starts to disappear when you start calculating instead of guessing. The second quote I chose is to win first and then fight, which translates more into winners prepare in silence and losers improvise in public. So before you ever do something, it's great to do the research first, to know what you're actually doing. Because when you storm into a situation thinking that you can handle it, you shouldn't be thinking, you should know, and that will give you victory. The third quote I chose is chaos creates opportunity. This famous phrase, this Chinese proverb, that the same symbol for a crisis is opportunity, that is because there are more things possible in a chaotic situations. The rules, the construct, it all fades away. Things that we thought were important in chaos actually suddenly are not important at all. It resets the playing field. People might fall away from their positions, a power vacuum is created. The fourth one is victory demands sacrifice. If you want to win, you have to work for it. It's never given, it's never offered, it's always taken in all forms of life. If you want to pass the test, you have to study for it. At least you have to pay attention in class. If you want to be strong, you have to go to the gym. If you want a job opportunity, you have to do the interview. Do you want to beat that game? You have to keep trying, maybe do some research. There are no shortcuts. Work and action is the solution. And the final one, vision meets execution. You need to have a vision. You need to see where you're going. But you also need to know where you're going. If you work daily on something without a plan, without a strategy, you might just do hard work for nothing. But if you have a plan to implement all your work in strategic ways, to reuse your work in some valuable way, this comes together. The why and the how plus the action comes together and so brings you closer to your goals and your victory. So that's it for Sun Tzu. He was a strategic philosopher who saw war as a necessary evil that needed to be avoided at all costs. He was ruthlessly efficient and he taught insistence. This still matters today because the work happens before the confrontation. Even if it's in relationships, at work, with friends, or any personal goal, you have to prepare and do the work first. To round it up, violence is the failure of strategy. And now for our next legend, we go a few thousand years back into the future.
A boy is born in a small village in Harima province. His father is already gone. His name is Miyamoto Musashi. At 13, he challenges a traveling swordsman named Arima Kihei. They meet on open ground. Musashi uses a wooden bakken, one blow to the head. Arima collapses and dies the next day. Musashi walks away. At 15, he leaves home for good. At 16, he fights as a foot soldier at Sekigahara on the losing side. When the battle ends, he survives and disappears. From that year on, he refuses to serve any lord. He will fight only for himself. Between 1600 and 1612, he accepts 61 formal duels. All are recorded in temple documents and clan chronicles. He wins everyone. The best-known series happens in Kyoto against the Yoshioka family. First, he kills the head of the school with a single strike that breaks his arm and ends the fight. Weeks later, he kills Seijuro's younger brother and heir, Denshichiro, in a second arranged duel. The Yoshioka clan, humiliated, sets a trap. Dozens of men, bows on the rooftops, spears in the dark outside Ichijoji Temple. Musashi arrives alone, hair tied high so it cannot be grabbed. He kills or wounds most of the attackers, walks out untouched, and leaves Kyoto forever. After that night, he rarely wears armor again. He wanders, trains, paints, sculpts, studies Zen. He lives simply, often in temples or under trees. In the year 1637, he is invited to Kumamoto by Lord Hosokawa. There, he teaches, designs gardens, and begins writing the Book of Five Rings. In 1643, already ill, he moves to Reigando Cave on Mount Iwado. For 2 years, he finishes his writings. 1 week before death, he completes the Dokudo, 21 short rules. Accept everything just the way it is. Do not fear death. Never stray from the way. On May 19, 1645, he dresses in white, sits in Seiza facing east, places his sword on his knees, and dies quietly at age 61. Today, the same choice he made at 15 is still waiting for you. Refuse to be owned, refuse to be ordinary, refuse to let any day pass without becoming sharper than yesterday. Musashi proved it takes nothing but a clear decision and daily action. The way is not lost. It begins the moment you stand up and start walking. If this resonated with you, like and subscribe for more historical figures coming back alive to share their life's work.
And as you see, he started sword fighting at a very young age. It was probably the most common thing to do in Japan, to pick up a sword and be skilled at it. And when he chose to fight in a war which wasn't his own, and he saw all the death and all the slaughter, he thought, I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna choose my own life. And so he did. He was the embodiment of freedom at that time, because that's what he wanted. He wanted to be left alone and improve himself. He chose to only serve himself. He became a samurai without a master, a ronin, which was illegal at the time. It was an insult to the feudal lords. He probably became so notorious that he got invited by this lord to come live at his estate. He lived like a monk, living a minimal life, free of possessions. He believed that possessions wears you down. Now let's go to the quotes I chose. 5 quotes. Think small of yourself and big of the world. This one is a little bit difficult to grasp because it makes you humble in sort of a way. Because the world will still exist without you. It's a sad truth we all have to face. We can do our best to be a better version and to have an impact on the world. But in the end, it's the world what matters, not us. And if you keep thinking with a lot of ego, you can inflate problems, personal problems, which might not seem that big at the start. The second quote is, everything is within. You have what you need. You have the potential. You have the power. You have the decision. You have the strength to become a better version of yourself every day. You have the decisions to do something, or to not do something. You have the decision to cut out bad habits every day. Every day is a new, clean slate. You might have made mistakes yesterday, or a year ago, or 5 years ago, but don't let that define you. Transcend this and become better. Which actually brings me to the third quote. Compete with the version of yourself from yesterday. Did you do something to bring you out of your comfort zone? Did this allow you to grow? Good. Celebrate your wins. They are worth it. You are worth it. You are worth it to become the best version of yourself. And you can do this every day. The fourth quote of him, there are many paths to the summit. Sometimes life is crazy. Sometimes things happen that you have no other choice to take a different and strange route. You might find yourself in situations where you never thought you would ever be. In that situation, maybe you will learn something of value that will influence the rest of your life. Maybe you learn a contact, a good friend, a good opportunity to make money, or you will learn some skill which will forever be a value in your life. Nothing is ever wasted. Embrace everything that life gives you. You have to find your path. Do not compare yourself with other people. You are not other people. You are you. The final quote I chose, lead yourself first. If you want to be a leader, you need to lead yourself to be a better version, the best version. A good person with values, someone who has earned respect by, first of all, respecting yourself every day. And this might be with the food you choose, the workout you do, the physical workout, the amount or quality of work that you offer at your job. It could be self-journaling, meditation, that you have to master yourself. To round up Musashi, he lived a very individual life in a collective society. He proved that you don't need permission to grow, to become a better version of yourself. Musashi taught us that we ourselves are our own competition. And that was Musashi. And now for our final warrior, our final man, we go to Korea.
Imagine facing 330 warships with only 13 and choosing to fight rather than flee. This is Yi Sun Sin's story. In 1545, Yi Sun Sin was born into poverty, carrying the shame of a dishonored father in Korea. With zero privilege, he would become the strategic genius that the Korean nation desperately needed to survive. As a determined young man, he faced failure twice in his military exams before finally succeeding in 1576. His journey to becoming Korea's greatest admiral was filled with setbacks that would have broken lesser men. By 1591, Yi was appointed as naval commander of Korea's left fleet, arriving just as war clouds gathered. In 1592, Japanese forces invaded with 160,000 soldiers, sweeping across the Korean peninsula like a tsunami. This brutal war would rage across the land and seas for 7 devastating years, testing Korea's very survival. Korea's land armies crumbled under the assault, but Yi Sun Sin held the seas with an unbreakable iron grip. He commanded his fleets to victory after victory, never losing a single ship to the enemy in any engagement. His secret weapon was the legendary turtle ship, a vessel armored with iron spikes and bristling with cannons. These revolutionary floating fortresses struck terror into Japanese fleets and severed their vital supply lines. But jealous rivals at court falsely accused the admiral of treason, leading to his arrest and brutal torture. Stripped of his hard-earned command, Yi was humiliated and demoted to serve as a common soldier for months. Without his leadership, Korea's navy was catastrophically destroyed, losing over 150 ships in a single battle. In 1597, Yi was desperately reinstated with only 13 battered ships remaining against 330 enemy war vessels. At the legendary Battle of Myeongnyang, he faced impossible odds, but defiantly refused to retreat from danger. "I still have 12 ships remaining," he declared with iron resolve, leading them into the treacherous narrow strait. Using fierce tidal currents and brilliant tactical genius, Yi destroyed 31 enemy ships without losing a single one. This stunning victory remains celebrated as one of the greatest naval triumphs in all of military history. In 1598, during the final climactic battle at Noryang Strait, Admiral Yi was struck by an enemy's bullet. "Do not announce my death to the troops," he whispered urgently, knowing his men needed courage to finish the fight. His loyal forces achieved a decisive victory that day, and the Korean peninsula was finally saved from invasion. Yi Sun Sin died a hero protecting his beloved homeland, remaining forever undefeated in 23 fierce naval battles. Subscribe for more incredible stories of heroes who changed history against all odds and never gave up. Today, he stands immortal as Korea's greatest hero, an eternal symbol of courage against overwhelming odds.
So that was the life of Yi Sun Sin. It was a tragic story, to be honest. He died as a hero while he was being treated so unfairly. He was noble, selfless, he had honor, and he was dutiful to his nation until the very end. So apparently his dream was to serve the army, to serve his nation, and he failed a few times before he got there. He actually was not very young before he reached his first position in the army. But he finally reached it. And he served, I think, 15 years, which gave him quite some time to be a very skilled admiral at the time. The turtle ship was actually a completely new innovation. He combined the metal plating with offensive cannons, which was never seen before at that time. And that he decided to continue against all odds. He showed us that circumstances do not define you, but how you respond and which actions you take do. He also served a humble and minimalistic life. And most of all, he had principles over ego. Let's dive into the quotes of him. He didn't have particular books like Sun Tzu or Musashi, but he did left his diary. It's a UNESCO World Heritage item. Seek that and find life sounds very radical, which translates more into if you have nothing left to lose, you will live your life to the fullest. It has a mentality that the only way is forward. The second thing I chose is finish the mission. When he died, he knew that winning the battle was the mission. He knew that morale is a very important thing when leading an army. So he made sure his men didn't know he was hit. He went on to complete the mission until the very end. That means you have to push through, because most people quit when it gets hard. You just have to do what you have to do. The third one I chose is be like a mountain. It's more about resilience. If something happens to you, you cannot make it shake your ground. You need to stand strong, accept it, and move on. Do not let a sudden event influence what you are about to do. You have to take time, reevaluate, and then act in a tactical way. The fourth is simplicity is power. As I mentioned, he lived a very simplistic life because he believes that complexity is a trap. Didn't you ever have an elaborate plan where you thought, yes, this is genius, I have to do it this way, and it's gonna be great. But when you did it, you thought, this isn't that simple, and this is not working. Maybe you should simplify it. And yes, most of the times it is. Most of the times a complex approach is unnecessary, and that simple and straightforward things can be so much more effective. And then the fifth principle, integrity cannot be bent. The man had principles over ego, and that is a beautiful trait for someone to have. To be humble and disciplined about something and just dare to say no. If something doesn't align with your values, you shouldn't do it. You should not compromise yourself. You just say politely, no thank you, and you move on. Yin Sun Tzu's life showed us that the only way is forward. That courage isn't fearlessness, but that courage is taking action despite fear. He did what he thought that was right, because he had a very strong moral compass. Alright guys, that was the Korean Admiral. And now, what did these three people all have in common? They mastered themselves first, they had internal control before external results, they refused conventions and created their own paths, they prioritized principles over comfort, like discipline, honor, and mission, they left written wisdoms, and they understood that true power is invisible. 3 men, 3 countries, 1 truth. Mastery is internal. Sun Tzu mastered strategy, Musashi mastered discipline, and Yi mastered resolve. They didn't have anything you don't have, but what you might need is one of these quotes in your personal living room. You might have noticed these posters alongside the quotes. You can order these to inspire and cheer up your living space. It will also support the channel. If you like this video, please leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I will make more videos like this. Thank you for watching.